Hi, I'm John and I'm work with Tacoma Power, and I'm here to do a how-to video on how to prune trees for the EnviroHouse. So the first thing you got to think about is you want to know how much you should take off of a tree. And the best part to tell you is you look at the live crown, which is the live branches of the tree. And you never want to take off more than 1/3 of the live branches at any one time. The second thing people want to know is when to do the pruning. Well, I tell people when not to do the pruning. And the time not to do the pruning is when the buds are just starting to break and the leaves are starting to come out. The bark is very tender and it rips and tears very easily. So we don't want to do it during that time. So for us here in the Northwest, generally you want to stop about the 1st of April and then you can restart around June 1st. The other thing to understand about trees is they don't heal when they're injured. So if we're pruning a branch off of a tree, we're actually injuring that tree. And it doesn't regenerate new tissue like if I cut my hand. What it does is it seals around the injury. So what you'll see is you'll see the callus wood growing around that injury. And our effort is to do everything we can to protect this area. It's called the branch collar. And the branch collar is that area just under the side of the tree that has this cambial woodial growth that will actually help the tree seal very quickly. And then the next part is how to do it. So the first thing you got to keep in mind is safety, okay? You need to wear a pair of good sturdy gloves and glasses that'll help protect your eyes. There's sawdust that flies and it does get in your eyes, so the whole idea is to be safe. So the first thing I'm going to do obviously is get my gloves on here and make sure I'm safe. And I'm going to take this branch off, and we've decided to take this branch off mainly because of the weight and it's having a clearance issue over the sidewalk here at the EnviroHouse. Now, if I was to take my pruning saw, this is way too big to use a pair of hand pruners, but if I take my pruning saw, which is this folding saw that I like here called a samurai type saw, the basic concept, if I was to take the saw and start cutting this area, before I got about 2/3 of the way through it, the branch would rip down and it would tear down here, damaging the branch collar and the area of ability of the tree to seal. So our whole goal is to protect the tree's branch collar because we want it to seal. So what we do is we actually go up about 5 or 6 inches above, and we're going to make an undercut. That undercut is going to relieve the tension in the wood. That tension in the wood is there because that allows the tree to flex and to grow strong. But if we start cutting it through, sometimes it'll split. So our first step is to make the undercut. Okay? And you go about maybe 1/3 of the way through. And now we're going to take the rest of it and work and try and meet that. Okay. So now you can see that we've taken that weight off of the tree. It was a heavy branch, as you could see. So my goal now is to prune to the branch collar, which is right in that area. And now that the weight is off of it, it's just a matter of my muscle here working it with this saw to do the pruning. And you can see now we have a nice smooth cut. We've protected the branch collar, and that will allow the tree to seal around that injury. So now carefully you put your tools away, and now we're going to go take a look over here at the tools that you can use to prune a tree. Okay, so I want to talk to you about how to use and pick the right pruning tools to do the job. The first thing I want to let you know is you want to pick tools that are going to last. So going to the bargain bin and picking out a pair of pruners for $5, they last about one time and they damage the branch collar that you're trying to protect. So things like hand pruners and saws that are in the bargain type thing, don't do it. Buy yourself good tools. They will last and do the best job for your tree. When you have small branches, which are generally 1/2 inch to 3/4, there's different types of hand pruners. Some people like the ones that have a flat edge to them, where it basically is taking the top and cutting it down. The other type are these here, which are called bypass ones, which are almost like a scissor type one. I'm going to tell you that these flathead type pruners are not very good because what they're doing is they basically squeeze in the branch and damaging that branch collar, which allows and minimizes its ability to seal around the injury. The bypass pruners basically cut with equal pressure and make a nice clean cut. So bypass is the way to go for hand pruners. Again, they're generally going to handle a branch about a 1/2 inch or so in diameter. When you're getting to a branch that's maybe 3/4 to maybe 1.5 inches in diameter, you can look at loppers, which are like these here. They do come the same way, either with kind of a scissor action type of thing or a flat edge. Again, the scissor action hand pruners, or loppers as they're called, work really, really well. What they're going to do is they're going to give you the ability to have leverage. It's going to allow you to reach up and to prune that branch effectively. So the loppers work for about 1.5 inches to about 1.5 inches in diameter. How do you know when you don't have the right tool? Is when you have to start reaming on the tool to get it to cut through. It means the branch is too big for you. So most oftentimes you'll see arborists with hand saws, and there are a number of different ones, but I happen to like these double-edged teeth type saws that cut on the back cut. And what they do is they're a folding saw, so they work nice and easy, keep in your pocket. They lock in place, and basically there are a number of different varieties. These will work for about maybe 1.5 to 2.5 inches. And just as you saw the branch we were cutting before, that was a pretty good sized branch for me to cut with this hand pruner. But it worked well, we got the weight off, and we were successful. When you need to have a bigger tool, a chainsaw, you generally have to be extremely careful with safety. The tools run very, very fast, they're very, very sharp, and if you can do it, you have to make sure you stay on the ground. So the key thing I want to tell you on pruning trees is do everything you can from the ground. Do not get on a ladder, do not hang on a branch and cut hanging with one hand off. There are too many people that get injured. The key thing is when that branch is too big, or if it's up in the tree, that's when you want to get to a professional and have them do the job for you. So I hope that this gave you a little idea of how to prune trees, the right techniques and the right reasons and when, and what tools to work for. They're easy, they're fun, it's a very easy job to do and protect your home and your property, and it's going to make your tree live a lot longer. So again, I want to thank you for watching and learning about how to prune trees and what tools to use. We invite you to visit the EnviroHouse here in Tacoma at any time during the hours that they're open, but we also want you to like us, and so please subscribe to our page.